Hey everybody, it's been a cold, wet, dreary month, and I've got a case of cabin fever that just won't end. But today is a bright sunny day. Let's go for a Model A ride. The calendar says that it's the middle of spring, but around here our favorite places to go are all socked in with multiple feet of snow, and a lot of the secondary roads we like to go on aren't even open. So we had to find someplace low in elevation to be able to take the Model A. Heading northwest out of Reno, we took Red Rock Road, which is a county road, goes about 20 miles north and then intersects US 395 just barely on the California side. Then we went south for a few miles to Hallelujah Junction, took Highway 70 west to the small community of Chillicoot, up to Frenchmans Reservoir, back down to Davis Reservoir, through the town of Portola, and then made our way back home. Well, if you had any questions about why they call it Red Rock Road, I think that solves the question. Located in southeast Plumas County, Frenchmans Reservoir was hit pretty hard back in July of 2021 by the Beckworth Complex fire. 2 lightning strikes got the fire going, ended up burning for 80 days, consuming more than 105,000 acres, and destroyed dozens of homes in the small town of Doyle, California. Once the road started paralleling Little Last Chance Creek, we could see immediately that the snow melt was in full force. The creek had 4 to 5 times its normal volume of water. Snow melt has begun. Climbing up from Sierra Valley, you enter a narrow canyon where the road and the creek take up the entire canyon floor. On both sides are rock spires that tower above you. The first time I came up this road, I was really surprised, as this terrain is completely different than any of the surrounding area. It was in 1961 that the upper half of this spectacular canyon was dammed and flooded, which is what makes up Frenchmans Reservoir. After enjoying several miles of the canyon views from the bottom looking up, it was time to gain some elevation, get up on top of the canyon wall so that we would be at the height of the dam by the time we reached the lake. Once the lake came into view, we were surprised by a couple of different things. First, that the lake was still froze over
and that it was already full and going over the spillway. This early in the season, we were not expecting that. Would make for a fun water slide for the majority of the way. The ending might be a little rough. Of course, anytime you're allowed to drive across the dam, you just gotta do it. After enjoying the views of the lake for a good 20 minutes, we headed back down the same way we'd come up and enjoyed that canyon all over again from the opposite view. Frenchman's Recreation Area has 5 different campgrounds in it. Here we stopped at one at the mouth of the canyon that was hit pretty hard by the fire. None of the campgrounds have been opened since the fire. Hopefully this will be the year the Forest Service can get them back in condition to be open. Our next stop was Lake Davis. This is also a reservoir. It was completed in 1967. It's considerably bigger than Frenchman's, at least 3 times the size, and is renowned for its trophy trout fishing. Excellent fishery. Well, here we are at Davis Lake, and again we are surprised to see the entire lake is froze over. This is a very large lake and reasonably deep. To see the entire lake froze over is just incredible. Don't think the campground's going to open for Memorial Day weekend. There's still 3.5 feet of snow over the entire campground. After having a fantastic lunch in the town of Portola, we headed for home. We decided to take the old highway, which stays down close to the middle fork of the Feather River. Not only is it a much more scenic drive, but you're not having to fight that modern fast traffic. Once we got back out into Sierra Valley, it was real easy to see where all that extra snow melt water was going. A lot of the ranchers now have lakefront property. Well, at least they're restoring the water table. The total mileage for today's trip was 153 miles. We sure are glad you came along for the ride. We hope that you enjoyed the views. And if there's any chance that we ever cross paths and see you out on the road, be sure and come up and say hi. We'd love to meet you. And as always, keep those tow trucks at bay.